Boom! Like a boom habit. You are rocking with the Saturday Night Boom Show. It is the AE Boom Booms right here on twitch.tv/wrestling boom.
Boom! We got the full booms going.
I'm Aburuzin's Josh Custodio here for our full gear review here on the channel, taking your calls, getting your scores, all those things, and I am joined by you love him, you know him, he's beautiful. It's Matt Prince here to break down the show with me. Good evening, Maddie, over the full gear sound effect. How are you feeling this evening?
Boom, boom. That's how I'm doing.
We're the last guys on the internet doing this. We're 4 months late.
We're 4 months late, but we're having a good time, you know?
Come on.
Also, Maddie B unlocked something with the capital letters there. We've seen plenty of people...
The Hulk is red now.
We've seen plenty of people try extending a word. We've seen plenty of people try it, but it just ends up saying boom.
Yeah.
Maddie B, that was insane.
Beautifully done. All right, come on, everybody. It's pay-per-view night. I love the subs. I love the sound alerts. Let them fly. It's Saturday. We don't get to do this too often. We'll go through a couple thoughts of the pay-per-view, then if anybody wants to jump in for discussion, we'll do it. Matt, maybe we start with doing what it is we do best. How does that feel to you?
It feels good, you know, just because it's a
It's
sure
like the old
thing.
saying goes, you want something done right, you gotta do it yourself. So now I'm gonna have to take control. I'm gonna have to get my hands dirty, and that pisses me off.
Never.
Very generous.
Very generous.
Never not generous. Never not generous is McVander.
Thank you, McVander Huge.
Dive into Maui Wowie from
Dive
the
in.
38th Governor's Select Collection. Crafted for the
governor.
Wowie. It's
Crafted
not
for
just
Maui
any edible. It's Maui
Weed edibles?
Wowie, designed to power you through
That
your
also have
day
caffeine.
With victorious Maui Wowie. Step into
A
the
heart-exploding
ring of
good
life
time.
with me,
Wowie, the body wowie.
And unleash your potential. Ready to feel Wowie.
People are ready to talk pay-per-view. That's obvious. Necron, first-time chat, saying, thank you for the gift sub, McVander Huge. Thank you again, McVander Huge, for the 5 subs. Very generous. And it's like he says, save money by spending today. Oh, we haven't heard. This has been a minute.
We haven't had enough father-based violence on our wrestling program, so that's why.
I think that's true. Folks, we're very active on Blue Sky. Go to the Wrestling Brain Blue Sky, retweet the post, let people know we're going late at Saturday night. Matt and I going through the pay-per-view, not top to bottom. Matt and I, we will be starting with Moxed and Orange. Wow, people are on fire
It
tonight.
looks like one of the zombies trapped in The Walking Dead. That's what I was just thinking about.
That's what I was just thinking about.
This calls for the medical personnel to come to Hell in a Cell. And the reason being is the demon has been busted open.
The demon has been busted open.
Positions here. The demon doesn't want to be bothered with. The demon wants to
doesn't want
continue
help
to
from the
fight, but
position.
right off
The demon says, your medical powers won't work on me. I'm a demon.
Edge is looking for more weapons. What else does he need? Meanwhile, the demon has risen. The demon is back to his feet. The demon ascending yet again. Oh, no. Get down from there. Get down from there. Oh, no. The demon came off the wall of the
That's it.
cell
That's
through
it.
the table. The demon's still in. I don't know
Oh.
if the demon's getting back up.
I don't think so either. Oh!
In the city of angels.
In the City of Angels.
In the
Well, no
city.
one knows the game like you do.
No one does.
And that's
Oh,
why
let's.
I
The
need
two
your
Pauls
advice.
got to speak
That
here.
game that needs to be played.
Yes.
Now they're about to explain how a double
I need
team
to turn
turn
that
works.
guy
A double
heel.
team.
Listen up.
How,
Babyface.
Listen up, because this is good advice.
this is how to do a double
Tough to pull
turn.
off, but when it's done right, one of my personal favorites.
How do I pull it off?
You need to let the heel come in and get the heat from the crowd. Then your babyface comes and gets the pop.
The heat and the pop.
Oh yeah.
That's
Not
just
a
two
lot.
entrances. That's not a double turn.
Not a lot of people know this.
8 the pop. 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 8 the pop Necron, longtime follower on socials, first time participant in the Twitch chat. That happens often, so thank you. I hope you enjoy your time in the chat. Everybody say hello. Help Necron feel chill. Maddie, very eventful, up and down, fun. All right.
This is de facto take a hit.
Yeah, I'm gonna go get my pen. I'll be right back. I can't hear this song without wanting to smoke.
Something. I performed this on stage once. Dressed up as the Big Show. No, I think I was dressed up as Bray. Actually, Justin Morissette was dressed up as Bray Wyatt the night.
It's like the old saying goes, you want something done
Hey, he was.
right, you gotta do it yourself. So now I'm gonna have to take control. I'm gonna have to get my hands dirty. And that pisses me off.
It did.
Never. Oh my God, Maddie. Thank you everybody for the support. It's Saturday night. It's Wrestling Brain. And I think it's time, Maddie, to do what it is we do best around here.
I see more.
Hear from Dutch Mantel is kind of what we do best.
That's kind of what we do best.
Dutch is going to talk about Swerve Strickland's value. And Matt, I'm going to let people know right after this sound alert. We're going right into the 1 to 7 music. As soon as you hear the song, and Dutch is done coughing, your score on tonight's Full Gear, 1 being the worst, 7 being the best.
I'm agreeing with WWE.
And if you just listen closely, Dutch is a little confused about how old Daniel Garcia is.
Garcia's 50 or 100.
No, Dutch, that's not true. No, it's not true.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Okay.
I made like a stinker. It wasn't that good.
It wasn't that good.
2.
1 to 7 scores on Full Gear.
But you gotta put some effort into it.
Oh,
5.
kind of to the beat.
6. 7. Come on. 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. Come on.
Maddie, the scores have rolled in. I'm going to read them out, and you're going to try and keep track of an average if you're up to the task.
Oh, yeah.
Well, then here we go. The WBCW historian Kev Sell kicks us off with a 6 out of 7. Black and Gold 510 with a 5.25. Marlon Phillips with a full 7. McAnder Hughes with a 7. Culture of Losing with a 7. Corvax 1266 with a full 7. Asher Kutcher with a 7. 7th Offensive with a 7. That's nice. The Zoobs with a 6. Hi, Zoobs. Paceball with 5.5. Shop Top with a 6. Keek 1717 with a 6. Irish Mac 21 with a full 7. Fruits Edible with a 7. Necron 9 with 5.5. Torque Penalty with 6.5. Maddie B 2123 with a 6. Maddie B 2123 with a 6. J Division with a 6. Maddie, what do you think the rough average was here?
Our average, roughly 6.355263158. If I had to guess.
Could you give me the next couple decimal points just so we have it right?
No.
You ended at 8.
Yeah.
Could you even say the number again? Probably not, right? Yeah.
6.355263158. Challenge accepted.
Our brother Ryan Schapp saying, I spent roughly $30 Canadian to play the sound alerts. Arguably the best way I could have spent my cash tonight. We will thank you, brother Schapp. It's money. Listen, we say it all the time. We're people who appreciate the money. You spend tons of money in your life for people who don't give a shit. I care. It means a lot to us seeing this stuff.
We're fucking begging for it over here.
Yeah, man.
Okay? The grocery stores aren't begging for it. You don't need the nice rice noodles. Just get the cheap ones.
Spend less on your groceries and more here on twitch.tv/wrestling. You could lower your quality of life.
Stay away from the organics. Do you really think they're that much better?
Eat the pesticides. We need subs.
Eat them. Rinse them off.
Like your kids need presents. Matt, low 6'2". How does that reflect your feelings on the show tonight on AEW Presents Full Gear 2024?
I think this is the straw that broke the camel's back for me on pay-per-views. I've been 7, even with flaws, but I'm going to give it a 6.5 this time. Even though some of the highs were higher than what I can remember, I feel like I'm almost resetting my scoring because there were parts of this pay-per-view that I just wasn't really interested in. And when you're making a wrestling show, you don't have to make it as long as you do, but you do.
That's for sure.
You can have a really long pay-per-view and like sometimes the crowd might not be into a match, but you're still into the match. I was with the crowd on some of the slower matches. I just, some matches didn't feel quite big enough. It was strange. Really high highs, but some lows that just kind of took me out of it a little bit. What about you?
Yeah, 5.75 from me. I really enjoyed the night of wrestling. Thought it was, I've said this before on these pay-per-view post shows, a lot of addition by subtraction to be done on the show, I think, unfortunately. I think I would have enjoyed this show more with just the absence of some of the things on the show. And I know that the pay-per-views is you want to get everybody on there and it's the pay-per-view. It feels big time. But when you're running monthly pay-per-views, make them shorter. I really feel this way. And this goes for live wrestling too. I'm rarely at a show where I bring a casual fan and they watch and they're not like, oh, well, an hour earlier they could have gone home. And I think the show would have played better. Even energy-wise for the live crowd, who already I thought was a really weak crowd tonight. They were there for some of the stuff, and so we have to give credit to the performers that did get them out of bed, so to speak. But yeah, 5.75 for me, man. I really like the. Everyone, you know what? You can just go to bed, everybody. I thought night. You think I thought about this show. The matches that you go, that was a Josh match, I liked, and the matches that you thought this is not a Josh match, I either didn't like or hated. Like, watching poor Takeshita have to go out there and dance around with Ricochet is a pained experience for me. I don't like seeing it. And so there's stuff like that on this card, but ultimately the high parts are awesome. Bobby Lashley, a really welcome add to AEW from tip to tail, from what I can tell. I really love that whole thing tonight. I like the action of the I'm talking about the post angle for the main event, a lot of stuff, but I have it all written out, but I suppose I haven't really thought about what I thought of all this. So yeah, 5.75, but maybe it could change as we go through the show.
Yeah. Ashton Kutcher laughing about the meager 6.5 that I give it, which is fun. It's funny to think about, like, I'm really low on this one. 6.5, a whole 0.75 higher than Josh. But I've been so satisfied by pay-per-views, even with their flaws, that this one just didn't quite live up, even if it has like a tent pole, like a absolute show your friends who, if you want to get them into women's wrestling, this is the match to show them. And just the highest of technical wrestling mixed with like really raw emotion in another match, like two potentially match of the years for me personally.
Oh, cool. Okay,
card, and it still didn't quite get there because you gotta trim it. You gotta trim a little bit. Just get the scissors out. Just be like, okay, Rizzler. Okay, yeah, we're good. No, we don't need to cut the Rizzler out. The Rizzler goes in. Actually, we need more of the Rizzler.
I got twice as long on the Rizzler. Yeah.
Every single match that dragged just needed the Rizzler on the bell. An absolute pro.
You need to get that crowd alive. You just trot that little McNugget out there, man. That guy was over like a rover.
He doesn't even have, like, he has it set up so no matter where his hand is in relation to his face works. Like, he's not just holding one pose. It's just like everywhere that his hands are on his face is the Rizzler face or Riz face.
I'm sorry to be off track already. We haven't even talked about a match, but I am reminded of when I saw Ric Flair in person. And you just see him. I went to a Q&A thing and there was like a little backstage thing before. It was advertised like meet Ric Flair, but it was nothing like that. He like walked through a room where me and like 24 other people were sitting in. But all to say, the entire time he was just like strutting like, woo, woo, like no timing with it, No, he was just, the machine was turned on. He was doing that. I felt similarly about the Rizzler tonight. He doesn't have timing with the face thing. He's like, oh, I'm just doing it. Anytime anyone's looking at me.
Anyone's looking at me. He came out. I forgot that he wasn't an adult, even though Matty Mac is convinced he's 36 years old.
He has 36 energy.
I forgot that he was just a little kid because he comes out and he holds the Big Show's hand. He holds Paul White's hand, and I was like, "This is great. This is good stuff. This isn't screwing this kid up at all."
I really agree with the Zoobs here that the epic AEW match style just happened a couple too many times for me. The flip side is it makes the stuff that isn't that or aren't that stand out, and I really find myself losing the thread of the stuff that melds together for me. Yeah, it's strange that a match, I think he's probably specifically referring to Bobby Lashley and Swerve Strickland, which is kind of meat and potatoes. Like, there's nothing flashy about it, but it stands out as so much more physical and competitive after some of the things that you've seen on this card. So anyway, let's kick off. We'll talk about all this as we go through the card. I'll get your calls if anyone wants to call in about not the main event, start prepping a thought, because Maddie and I will talk about Jon Moxley versus Orange Cassidy for the AEW World Heavyweight Champion. It was your main event tonight. The match opens pre-bell with Orange Cassidy attacking Jon Moxley with 3 orange punches out the gate. Maddie, I feel like this match's stated purpose was, can we get people buying on Orange Cassidy near falls? And if so, what would that look like? How do we build Orange Cassidy into a believable winner through the course of this match? I actually think they did a pretty good job of it. I mean, I don't think any of us thought that Orange Cassidy was going to win. In fact, I think we all talked on the preview show, or they did on the preview show. I wasn't on it this week. Whoa. About how that was like the most likely event at that moment. The most likely easy to call.
The cans come for us all, Josh.
They really don't. I want them. Man down. But this was the most predictable match on the card. If you had to bet all your money, you would have bought on Jon Moxley tonight. Ultimately, that paid off. But do you think they did a good job of, from opening with these 3 punches to making it very clear Orange got his ass kicked and then he had his comeback area? Did you feel sort of the wins of Orange Cassidy in the main event tonight?
I think going into it, I think they did a good job because I was out of it at certain points. And I still bit on the Moxley near fall at the end. So you have to hand it to them. Like, you can have your thoughts on the match, but it was believable. Would I have set the match up in a way? I just wasn't really interested in the story that was being told. It's part just like issues with like the whole Jon Moxley storyline of like saying the company is bad. I'm distilling it just for the sake of making a point. It's not necessarily, it's way more nuanced than that. But he sort of set himself up as like this absolute destroyer, this world eater now. He looks different than he has in the past. He looks better than he has in the past. When the match ended with you believing that Orange Cassidy could win in the first title defense of this new world eater, Jon Moxley, and Moxley was vulnerable by the end of it. And I understand that, like, you want to make your baby faces look good, but I thought this was going to be more long-term. I thought Jon Moxley was going to look more indestructible. I thought you could have told a story that you've told in the past, I suppose, but I thought you can tell a story where Orange Cassidy, it's not necessarily about winning. It felt like the whole time it wasn't really about winning. It was just that I have to stand up and I have to do this on my own. He's against so many people. Like, I wasn't super compelled. Even though, like I said, I popped when with that near fall. That near fall was really good. But then by the end of the match, it just sort of felt like, oh yeah, Wheeler wasn't there, and then Wheeler was there at the end, and he basically won. He stole the match. He stole the victory from the jaws of defeat at the end, and that's not super interesting to me because I wanted the Death Riders to be scarier than that, and maybe it just wasn't time for Orange Cassidy to do this. Maybe I'm not really. I'm still figuring it out. I'm still figuring it out in my head because by the end, they still look cool. And by the end, the machinations are now moving against them. You have multiple people that are now finally going after them. So there's some cool seeds being planted, and I'm willing to give it the time that it needs, because it needs a little bit more time. But maybe it's just going to go faster than I expected, and John Moxley isn't looking to take over the company for a long period of time. Maybe it is more of a quick reset. This is me just rambling for a while, and I appreciate you letting me do so. I don't really know how to hand it back to you, because I'm still figuring out. Do you have a better idea? Do you have like an idea of what the short and midterm are with this program?
I think so, yeah. I think that they're just, with this story, going to have a hard time with main events. For the record, I love main events ending on a sad note. I was in person at Wrestle Dream. I loved feeling the crowd die. I love sending these bastards home sad. I think having to send the kids home happy is nutso. But I understand your feeling here, that the match ends up sort of being this thing that you've seen out of Mox and Orange Cassidy before, at least that story told. Can Orange Cassidy withstand John Moxley? But you need, for this story of babyfaces to emerge, you need babyfaces who can main event right now, and that John Moxley is going to beat no matter what. And that's a short list. And I think Orange Cassidy is actually really well served as sort of that person. You have to have Mox win his first couple defenses no matter what, right? You can't have the story of the person emerge against a monster that isn't a monster yet. And so that does put them already at a booking crossroads. And then stacked on top of that, it's your world title scene. So these are your main events. And so in a perfect world, would John Moxley have had a title defense where he mauls somebody of the stature of Orange Cassidy? I think unequivocally yes. I think that would be helpful and cool and would only help John Moxley, and somebody like Orange Cassidy can take that. Can you tell that story over the course of a main event? And right before that, you have Swerve Strickland and Bobby Lashley. It's sort of an impossible thing to get across there. So I understand what you're saying. I understand the position they're in, but I do think John Moxley and Orange Cassidy have surprisingly good chemistry. I've liked all three of their matches quite a bit. I like when Mox goes into whipping a guy's ass mode. He reminds me a bit of Nick Gage, honestly, in those moments where you can tell when he's sort of intense and engaged and turned on, and it's not real, but it's like, okay, whoa, easy, Tiger.
It's like slowly stalking as opposed to wrestling. It's just like
totally
blood in the water kind of attitude, and I love that about Mox.
Pressure fighters and all this sorts of things. So I thought the match only got better as it went on, and I have to give AEW credit. Only in this match, because they did the thing I hate earlier in the show. But in this match, Orange Cassidy gets Marina Shafir's briefcase. And instead of looking at the briefcase and then looking away and going, can I do it? And then drop the briefcase, he just fucking wails Mox with it. He just gets the briefcase and goes, gadoosh, gives him the old how she going. You hurt Chuck Taylor. Come here, pimp. Like that's how I want it to be.
You're fighting. You're already hitting somebody. If this was
earlier in the show, Daniel Garcia would hit Jack Perry with a belt, and he kidnapped him. He taped him in a van, tortured the guy who filmed him. He won't hit him
with the belt.
They're already fighting.
That is something we're still gonna get. I'm sure we're still gonna get it.
I don't mind it here and there, but it's like a trope of a company. It's so lame.
It's so lame because it was great. It was just like Orange Cassidy as a babyface. He wanted to win, so he had to make sure that the ref wasn't looking. The refs turned around. He clobbers him with it. It was great. I loved Willow's run in. It's hard to analyze this match as like from front to back.
Let's talk about that. John Moxley does eventually get assistance here from Claudio and Pac after Marina Shafir is sort of at ramp. They jump onto stock and Conglomeration comes in, chases off Claudio and Pac, or at least evens it. They brawl to the outside. And then Willow comes in for a monster spear on Marina for a huge pop. At this point, though, Maddie, I do have written down here that I feel a need to be intellectually honest here.
Okay.
I have dumped on New York for having interruptions in their main event scene for years and years. And that's not what this is. They haven't done this for years and years. But it is something that I am sensitive to. I don't want every John Moxley world title defense to have guys on the ramp and running in and outside involvement, especially for a faction as whack as the Conglomeration. And I know that's like quasi the point. Like they're just your utility baby faces that you can slap together.
The dads that stepped up, you know, like
exactly right.
It's you have to almost analyze it under a microscope. Unfortunately, because of the statements that John Moxley is making going into this, you almost have to take the way this match transpired was what John Moxley wants for the company.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily his what he's saying is more making sure that every aspect of your company it takes itself seriously, and that it doesn't matter if you're a mid-carder, if you're a job or anything like that, you still have to be put in a position to excel and that's his main point. And I love that about what he's saying. It's not necessarily like it's not about changing. He's not even talking about stories necessarily when he's saying, like, it's just about taking your job seriously and making sure that somebody who's new to the company feels as though they can see a future, or they can see they can see themselves improve. That's what Moxley's talking about. But you can't help but also look at the fact that it was run in heavy. It had some New York stink to it with the run-ins, and with the outcome of this isn't just run-ins. This is the direct outcome of the match being dictated by the run-in. Wheeler Yuta
and there is a difference there. There is a slight distraction or something. I do want to say that I'm not there yet. Like, I don't feel like the New York stink is on this for me. It is something I'm sensitive to. I don't want it to continue and to
you
be
can Lysol spray it. It's it's easy to get rid of the stink. It hasn't permeated. It was just like,
and we all have biases. My rope for John Moxley is gigantic. He's my favorite living pro wrestler. For all in all, probably a bit more interesting Gabe Kidd right now, but. Okay, so post-match, Wheeler Yuta runs in, like Maddie says, hits the Psycho knee that sets up John Moxley for the Death Rider, and he pins Orange Cassidy 1, 2, 3, and then Maddie, they grab a bottle of chemical from under the ring that looks like the tastiest drink I've ever seen. They start to pour it on Orange Cassidy and force him to drink it. I'm like, no problem. That looks like G2 Frost or something. I thought that. Am I right? Oh, a tasty. It's like the Barbicide at the Barbers. I just want to.
Oh, I would. I always wanted a little sippy. Just give me one of those little, one of those really long Tropicana straws.
Too much.
I'll sit in the waiting area with my Tropicana straw, and it's gonna reach you.
I drink to your Barbicide. The Baja Blast spray bottle. That's right, King 1717.
A Jones Blue Raspberry, if you will, or is it bubblegum?
Yeah,
I think it's bubblegum.
So they pour the delicious looking juice all over Orange Cassidy. I actually like this visual, joking aside. There's like a chemical. They find new ways to do this. It's not always the bag. Orange Cassidy's cut. So you think about having something like that poured on a cut. It reminds me of when in Freedoms, they pour salt on guys who are cut. It's like, or lemons. Wings and Freedoms do that. Okay. Then begins the parade of post-match, so Orange Cassidy's there. They got the chemicals pouring on him. Hangman Page is out, which makes Mox stop and sort of face him. You know, all the history that Hangman and Mox have had. And my brain's sort of going, I thought Jay White would be up next here I had said earlier in the Discord, I think Jay White will be up next for Mox after that. But I'm saying, Hangman, too early to turn him face, but they need faces. The Elite's gone. I'm sort of talking myself into that. You go to Hangman, Mox 5 could be kind of cool in their current characters. But then this was a setup for the Hangman and Christian tag team of a couple weeks ago. Hangman is there, attacks Mox, and gets Christian out. Distracts Mox. Well, Christian runs in, hits Mox with the Unprettier. And then you remember Christian has the Money in the Bank. I hate this thing. I also, it makes me hate myself because I forget all the time that Christian has this thing somehow. Chat, anybody else like this? Do you just forget that, or am I just, it could easily be me. I'm not the smartest guy around, but I'm always like, oh, right, this stupid thing.
He is explicitly introduced as such.
I know. I don't know how I forget.
I think you want to
they've run
forget.
angles with it multiple times.
You're compartmentalizing this because you hate that somebody has a contract to whenever they want. I don't know. I'm not as down on the Money in the Bank concept. I think it's kind of cute. You know, it can have some fun moments, but it's so
it doesn't
hard
work when Mox is your world champion.
Yeah,
it just
that's the
doesn't.
thing.
Why would Christian the character? It's like, oh yeah, I'll go pick a fight with John Moxley.
Yeah,
cool, dude. Claudio's gonna pick you up by your ankle and swing you like a lasso.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'll continue walking through this here.
Yeah.
Christian hits Mox with the unprettier, but then Jay White's out and attacks Christian. He goes, I told you I'd get you. And he did weeks ago. And then Claudio attacks Jay White to chase him off. And that kicks off our next area into a backstage segment here. Jay White saves John Moxley. It's sort of an interesting setup there. Then this was cool, I thought. The Death Riders are sort of injured, but making their way through the back. Again, I like this increased arena usage from AEW lately. This is one of the few things I would steal from the Attitude Era. You're in the building, use it. I think it's interesting to make sort of the space, this place that you feel like you know. I remember being young and you felt like you knew what certain backstage areas looked like, or because they would have different stages and what fit where. Like that was an early wrestling internet talking point.
The arena hallways, you
feel
know what the doors look like. You know what it sounds like. That floor, it's that weird rubber that doesn't have any bounce to it.
Yeah, 100%. I also see the Wrestling Brain Discord is humming about the post press conference. So if there's any news, throw it in the chat, please. Brainiacs and Maddie, if you want to keep half an eye on Blue Sky or something. Mox is going through the back and they're going to run to their truck. I always love they just drive a simple truck. Gray or black will do. But then a car crashes into their truck. And that was obviously wicked. And then they do like a second, which I would have thought have been cool. They're like, who's in the car? Of course, everybody knows who's crashing a car into somebody. It's Darby Allin. But nonetheless,
it had his face paint on the car.
Yeah, I guess it wasn't the greatest mystery in the world. It could have been Sting, could have been Jeff Hardy. Lots of people.
The surprise would have been that he actually drove it. Like if they showed him like actually going like this in the car, that was so cool. Cars
cool,
crashing, right? Like sometimes wrestling is just loud noises. Sometimes wrestling is heat in the pop. Sometimes wrestling can be distilled into just like this carnival attraction, this demolition derby, and so often the simplest thing can get over. And I feel like that, like I will always remember Roman
birthday.
Well, no, if I say remember, you know what's coming next.
Sorry, that's on. Yeah,
I will always remember Braun Strowman versus Roman Reigns. I'm not finished with you. Tipping over the ambulance, shit like that. Like everything else was dreck at that time, but we had the loud noises to look forward to. Cars crashing. Sometimes it's as simple as that.
Maybe Darby doing an ode to Braun Strowman tonight as he gets out of the car, and as Mox and Co. commandeer a different SUV, Darby yells, "We ain't fucking done," which is the PG-13. I'm not finished with you.
You know what? It's true. I love that he swore. Swearing can be fun.
Can you imagine a Braun Strowman coffin drop? Could Braun survive doing one of those from the top of the turnbuckle to the floor through a table like Darby does regularly?
The 50% of the 60% of his body that protrudes outwards from his center of mass would just crush him.
Yeah, his own self would. Okay, well I want to know what why don't we do this and keep it or kick it form? This will help me gain clarity on this. I'll go to the Brainiacs, the greatest, smartest group of people in all of wrestling. I'll go to a keep it or kick it, Maddie, an impromptu one if you got the music handy there.
I will bring the music.
I'll bring the music.
I'll bring the music to you.
We bring the boom. That's what we do. We bring the boom. We bring the boom to you. Come on, no one else had that song
we
stuck in
keep
their head
it
today.
kick for you.
Yeah, and we do. Thank you to the original Swagman putting the emotes in chat. Keep it or kick it, of course, very simple. I will give a prompt. You will go to the emotes bar and either put keep or kick. Keep means you like it, love it, wants more of it. Kick means you hate it, despise it. Never want to see it again. First of 2 keep it or kick it's tonight. Keep it or kick it. This statement from the end of the match to the end of the pay-per-view was good tonight.
Keep it or kick it. 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 Keep it, kick it, keep it, kick it, keep it, keep it, kick it, keep it, kick it, keep it, keep it, kick it, keep it, kick it, keep it, keep it, kick it, keep it, kick it, keep it. Keep it or kick 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 it. Keep it, kick it, keep it, kick it, keep it, keep it, kick it, keep it, kick it, keep it, keep it, kick it, keep it, kick it, keep it, keep it, kick it, keep it, kick it, keep it.
You know, Maddie, we've heard a lot of sound alerts tonight, but we have not heard my favorite one.
Mm.
And so maybe as I go to look over the keep it or kick it's, I could hear about my favorite jug. We'll see. That's very, very cloying of very outright ask, but I haven't heard it. It feels like months. I haven't been using the jug as much. Oh, that was nice. You sort of gave me the broke version. Okay, well, let's get in here and see what the people had to say.
Broke. This is from the Boathouse.
Good spot.
Stop the poo flavored one. Bub filled with bugs. I'm the poo.
Come on, everybody. It's Saturday night.
Bub filled with bugs. I'm the poo flavored one. Bub filled with bugs. I'm the poo flavored one. Bub filled with bugs. The poo flavored one. Bub filled with bugs. I'm the poo flavored one. Bub filled with bugs. I'm the poo flavored one.
Maybe the best bass line I've ever come up with.
It's so money.
Bub filled with bugs.
If I was an Eminem, I'd be like,
I'd be like, oh.
I'd be like,
I'd be like, oh.
I'm the poo flavored one. Bub filled with bugs. I'm the poo flavored one. Bub filled with bugs. I'm the poo flavored one. Bub filled with bugs. I'm the poo flavored one. Bub filled with bugs. I'm the poo flavored one. Bub filled with bugs. I'm the poo flavored one. Bub filled with bugs. I'm the poo flavored one.
Is that you?
Bub filled with bugs. I'm the poo flavored one. Bub filled with bugs. I'm the poo
What is going on?
Keep it or kick it.
Is this you?
Keep it or kick it. Keep it
Yeah.
or kick it. Keep it, kick it, keep it, kick it.
Can you stop this song for the fourth time in a minute?
Keep it, keep it, kick it, keep it, kick it, keep it, keep it, kick it, keep it, kick it, keep it.
All right. Was the end of the main event match tonight to the end of the pay-per-view good? Giesbrecht starts us off with a keep. Now Godic Zero with a keep. Marlon Phillips with a keep. Kevsel with a keep. Correx 1266 with a keep. Culture of Losing with a keep. McVanderhuge with a keep. Keek 1717 with a keep. Highest BRL with a keep. Necron 9 with a kick. Torque Pendulum with a keep. Danny B 2123 with a kick. J Division with a keep. People largely liked it. Maddie, what about you?
It's a keep from me, Josh.
I didn't think you were going keep.
I'm going keep with the post match. The post match really brought it back to life for me, because part of the main event, I don't like stunned silence very much, or as much as you do, because it just reads to me like, I don't know, it just feels out of place.
You must have hated the end of The Sopranos.
Now there is a difference to me between prestige television and wrestling. So I think
Yeah, one happens live and in the ring every Wednesday night.
the distinction for me is just, and it's not a criticism of it. It's simply saying that's not really why I watch wrestling. There were parts of the match that were like that, but then there were parts of the match where I'm like, well, if we didn't have those lulls, things wouldn't have been as back up again when Orange Cassidy made his comeback. I understand that. You know, maybe there's a way where it's not completely like stunned silence for a while. Afterwards, I love that the end of the pay-per-view was used to maybe confuse things a little bit, but more importantly, give yourself some branching out points.
Yeah, it made you maybe have some reason to tune into Dynamite.
I'm curious about what's going to happen, and that was like the only thing that I liked about. Not the only thing, other than hanging out with friends, but watching pay-per-views and being disappointed, watching WWE pay-per-views and being disappointed. I would at least get some sort of surprise, some sort of return, a shocking moment. That's one of the reasons I love wrestling, is just to be...
No, for sure.
It's just to dip my chip in the campy dip and eat it up, you know? I love it.
I'm right on the fence with this one. It's I thought it was a better keeper kick it than the scores gave it, frankly. I'll keep it too because it doesn't seem like a pattern yet, but I really hated the Christian involvement. Christian attacking Mox is a bad visual to me. I don't know why Mox has to take an unprettier from a guy who just, I don't know. Mox is this unstoppable force. Here comes Christian spinning around and hits his finish. I don't know. And I'm the Christian fan on the channel, for the record. I feel like I'm the most pro-Christian person here. Be Catholicism or gay.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I thought you were more on the Catholicism side.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Are they the same thing? I don't know how it works.
Yeah, they are actually. Okay, Maddie. Do we have anyone who wants to call in? If you were in the chat, just say what match you want to call in about, and we'll make it happen. Unless we don't have callers, then I will choose. I will decide what match we go to next.
You don't want to give me. You don't want to give me the wheel. You're. You know. They say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Look at this. Look at this man.
I'm happy to give you the wheel. Do you usually bring us the wheels?
No. You try. You gave it to. You gave me the wheel last time, and I just went and I gave the wrong answer. So you're learning. You're learning here.
I don't even remember that. It must be an instinct thing.
Like dogs burying their bones in the carpet.
Here we go. Original Swagman wants to talk to Takeshita Ricochet if it's not too negative. I want a bomb on that dude. Let's get in here. Let's get the original Swagman in the house. Maddie, how does he join the call?
Well, you type in call in.
Oh, that's right. Exclamation mark call in. There we go.
The password is Komi in.
Komi in.
You can join our call.
Matt's mom's maiden name.
Yeah. And then when you join, you won't be on screen. We'll just be able to hear your voice.
Yeah, like a radio show.
It's just like a radio
show.
Will
we see Marlon?
Well, yeah, we'll see Marlon.
Thank God.
And Marlon, if you want to let us know in the chat, you can come in right now, or if you want to come in a little bit later, you can also wait if you need to sort of pump yourself up. Maddie B, you can't beat us to the punch here. Maddie B just encapsulated all of our thoughts.
Oh,
he said, "Way too."
Get on to the next match then.
Way too slow pace of a match.
That actually isn't my problem with it, so maybe not.
Oh, interesting.
I mean, I didn't think that part of it was good. Where are my notes on it?
Well, we have Marlon. Marlon, you are on. No, Matty V. I just thought it was perfect. You said way too slow pace of a match. I think when it came down to it, like there was nothing, for me at least, there was nothing exciting to it. But what about you, Marlon?
Marlon looks
didn't hear what you guys
incredible.
were
I'm
talking
sad
about.
that people can't see him.
Yeah, I was joining the call. What were you guys saying?
Well, Matty B's issue with the match was that it was slow paced. I thought that it didn't have a lot of excitement to it, even though it had every reason to be exciting. Two technically speaking exciting wrestlers, one being my favorite. I don't know, Marlon, what went wrong?
Me
for
too.
you?
Basically exactly that. I did like the triple threat match Ricochet, Takeshita, Osprey had. Thought it was awesome. And then you have Takeshita, the most reliably like good worker on the card, probably, maybe outside of Osprey, obviously. But Ricochet is someone who like I really liked pre WWE from what I would occasionally see of him. I kind of got out of the Fed when he was starting to come up through NXT and everything. Um, and then wasn't like overly excited for him to sign with AEW, but I thought, you know what? This is where the best wrestle. He's going to have some really good matches with your Will Ospreys, your Takeshita's, Fletcher's, that sort of things. And like you guys, he hasn't done anything whatsoever for me. And it made me start to think like, are all those matches that he had like on the indies pre NXT or even, when NXT was still good with him, like were they just because the other people were good and he was flipping around? He's lost a step for sure, in my opinion, too.
He's 36.
He's not.
He's
He
got
really does not embody being 36 at all. The Rizzler is more 36 than Ricochet could ever be.
It's
But-
just if you can't have a world class match with Takeshita, considering the skills Ricochet does have, I just don't know what to do from here. Like, just get him gone, get him like grizzled young vets. He can just leave. It's fine.
yeah, it's fine. He was here. He doesn't have to be here.
See you later.
Ricochet was in the media leading up to tonight's match, saying that he wants to prove that he can carry a company. Marlon, I'm going to ask you, put your thinking cap on here. What does he need to do to be able to get even close to that?
Don't have a big enough thinking cap here, brother. I got
What if he
nothing for
changed
you.
absolutely everything about himself, Marvin? Would that even be enough?
Well,
If he just utterly transformed bottom dog. I still don't think if he was the opposite of him, I don't know if it'd be enough.
I won't dwell on this too much because I know you could talk about it for the rest of the show. First of all, wearing the same color gear. What are we doing here? No need for that.
It's
the
happened
most
too
easily
often.
avoidable thing in the world. There's many, many, many different colors. Anyway, moving on. Something we talked about a lot when Ricochet was coming in was like he will win a lot of us over if he does kind of the Ed Copeland thing where he is wrestling somewhat differently. He's doing a lot more like I can't say overly hardcore stuff, but you know what I mean, getting color in some matches, some more hard hitting stuff. What a lot of guys I think do when they kind of come from over there to AEW and they really show that they can go all out. And the match was fine. I don't want to make this like I didn't want to call in just to say I hate Ricochet.
But fine isn't good enough, and that's okay. Like it was a
By
fine
Takeshita standards.
Yeah, it was fine, but it's on a pay-per-view against Takeshita. That's bad.
You give me anyone else and it's a mid-card title, maybe upper mid-card, sure, but it's a mid-card title, so you can put a lot of guys in there with Takeshita and get an excellent pay-per-view match. I think of Kyle O'Reilly as someone I think could have a really interesting match with Takeshita.
Evil Uno. Almost
yeah,
anybody but
sure.
Ricochet.
Yeah, I just Ricochet is just not doing it. It's over. Again, I didn't hate the match. It was perfectly fine. I love Takeshita's spots. They never really lose anything for me. He looked great. But it just wasn't, I still expected it to be a really good match, maybe not on the level of Osprey Fletcher. But when I was reading Blue Sky before, like I found some new people to follow on there that talk about AEW, and I saw two people distinctly saying like Takeshita Ricochet has the potential to surpass that Osprey Fletcher match. And I thought right away, seeing that, I was like, I completely disagree with that. I don't think it does, but you would think it would have a chance to be in the same conversation on a night like tonight. And it just flat out wasn't. It was one of the worst matches of the night for me.
Marlon, are you a basketball fan at all?
Enough.
Enough?
Of one.
You might know the name Russell Westbrook. He's the he's the greatest example of this. He at one point was a MVP of the league. He had
triple double machine.
Triple double machine. He could run faster than anyone.
With Matt on this for the record, Marlon. The people are not with this.
I want to hear what he has to say.
Matty B 2123, not even close. Well, anyway, he was at his prime one of the best players in the league. He was the most valuable player in the league 1 year.
I agree wholeheartedly.
He has not been able to sustain that past his early 30s even. He is the shell of who he used to be, because once his athleticism went, He didn't have the wherewithal. He doesn't have the guile. He doesn't have the he's not
There's been
as
2 or
smart.
3 times where he's signed somewhere and it's like, oh, this is a new super team because they got Russ.
Yeah.
And it's just law of diminishing returns, and now it's
They
not
waive
even
him.
a conversation.
He's on the bench,
right?
and he doesn't want to
Ricochet
be on the
was
bench.
really never the best, though. Like,
Yeah, that's
he wasn't
I
even
don't
in
agree
the
that Ricochet was ever like
conversation of the
the
best.
Russell Westbrook
It's-
of wrestling, but he was very, very good.
He was very,
Maybe.
very good, and so many wrestlers age into their 40s, and we've seen the wrestlers that age into their 40s that come to AEW. They're good. They've still got it. Ricochet has lost a step. He doesn't have the bounce that he once had. So the things that really carried him in the matches before, he out of this world. He's no longer out of this world because there's somebody twice the size of him in Beast Mortos who can do everything that he can do. It's less that he was the best in the world. It's more that when you don't have the athleticism, what do you have?
Everything goes.
And so many wrestlers still have something in them. Josh's favorite wrestlers have no athleticism because they get it. And so if you don't get it and you lose your athleticism, you lose me and you lose
Well
the
said.
Brainiacs.
All right, I got to get in here. I don't. For me, it's not he's lost a step or he was like good and now bad. I think he is like a carbon in the proof example of just a guy who doesn't get it. He has no idea what makes good wrestling.
If there
He's
ever was
hyper-athletic,
one. Yeah.
and he would have done better in something else. Every minute of this guy, I've ever seen him wrestle, it never looks competitive. It never looks passionate. It never looks emotional.
And his
He's
whole
the
character is
definitive
just
gymnast
I'm a
wrestler
guy.
to me. He could speed up or slow down 20 or 50%. I don't think this guy's capable of having a match that I would like. A title match against Takeshita. If you can't have a 18-minute international title match on a pay-per-view against Takeshita that I even like, I don't know what further proof we need. It's like I got a bunch of texts tonight being like, you might be not a bunch. Okay, I got 2 texts
That's
tonight.
a bunch.
more than
in
me.
terms of wrestling, it's a bunch.
That's a bunch.
Saying, okay, you might be right about Jack Perry. I'm right about Ricochet too. These are 2 guys who have never gotten it. They might be athletic. They might be able to do some things that fall under the category of pro wrestling. But I'm watching Ricochet, and like the things that make like for me, a pro wrestler, you need 3 things, or a great match needs 3 things, I should say. And a pro wrestler needs to be able to get it there. I don't need
historical
money.
reference.
Draws money.
Your match has to be emotional. It has to be competitive. And it has to feel passionate. And like none of this stuff is present in Ricochet at all.
Well, a big part of Ricochet's whole problem is he doesn't have a character, or you don't even have to have a character, a gimmick or anything, obviously. But like a lot of people used to think Will Ospreay was just this guy that does flippy moves and nothing else. But the guy can fucking flat out promo. He's very passionate, and that's what you're coming back to. Like he really makes you feel something for him.
To an audience.
Yeah, he can connect with us. Ricochet's whole deal is he's just like, hey guys, I'm really good at flipping around. You better watch it. And that's it. Why would I want to see him
put on
doing
good matches.
Yeah.
You don't though. That's the problem.
So it's like a guy, there's so much that would just need to come out of his moveset for me to get into him. And I know this all like sounds annoying, but when he does that whip to the corner and then runs in the opposite direction and then backflip elbows at the guy, it's like that's just so stupid. It's just such a stupid thing to do. It's not what, and it's just another example. It just in his promo, I think of him in Jack Perry, and there's guys like this altered wrestling history. It's you can be good, but you don't have that thing that makes a pro wrestler this guy who is a guy who gets it and is all encompassing and knows what it takes. You're a guy who is trying to memorize his lines. It's all effort. It's like watching Joe Rogan do comedy. It's like, yeah, if you have unlimited money and time and platform, you can kind of understand the beats of it, but you could never riff or be like a funny guy. And that's how I feel about these guys. It's just, they found themselves here in pro wrestling.
I just have no need for him to be in the company any further. Like I'm not advocating for him to keep someone to be out of a job, but
thank you, Marlon Phillips, for the full year.
I always wanted to hear what it sounded like while you're actually doing it.
What do you think?
Pretty good. I have the MP3 file on my phone just to break a little kayfabe here, but this is the best it's ever sounded.
Sorry, what was that, Marlon?
Anyway, I thought this was one of the worst matches of the night, too. A total waste of a Takeshita singles match. Put Ricochet in a tag team with a big guy is what I would do. And if there's some big guy with some personality that needs to be put with, that works for me. But in this sort of role, it's just, I've seen, not before AEW, I had seen enough. And Matt's right. A lot of the elder statesmen who arrived at AEW, they managed to make this transition. I really feel like the evidence is out there. I just
You're gonna go through the whole card, but I feel pretty comfortable in saying it was the second worst match of the night. I probably liked MJF and Roddy more, even though it was like more bland.
I definitely liked MJF and Roddy.
Yeah,
definitely.
I think it was like after the tag match, worst match of the night for me.
Any other grand points you want to make tonight, Swagman, before we let you out of here? The people always love hearing. Can we get a Marlon ate the lemon in the chat? Remember when the month ago this time, Marlon ate the damn lemon.
Let's face it, Josh. Between the lemon and the calls that he has made, Marlon ate. Period.
Marlon ate and served, and maybe he was serving dinner, and that's what he ate.
That is really nice of you guys to say. I don't really have anything else to say. I'm just happy to see both of you guys. Love the show. Great show tonight. One of the best Wrestling Brain starts ever with all the sound alerts. So I hope everyone keeps that going, and that because I was on the show, I get some of the money.
And Marlon will be getting some of the money. He will be getting a sum of the money.
Oh,
the number to be determined.
Yeah, we're giving him a $5 gift card to Bilo, so he can replenish the lemons.
Yeah, we'll pay him in lemons, maybe. And he can make lemonade because that's what you do in life. Anyway, Maddie, do we have any other callers? If you want to call in, say what match you want to talk about. And Maddie, I'm happy to hand you the wheel back. Is there a match you wanted to go to next?
Let's talk about. I think we can just start going from chronologically. Start from the opening tag match. Maybe get it out of the way because I feel like that's something that people were pretty down on. It was a 4-way tag match with strange rules. The way the match went was pretty predictable for like the people that were in it. The main storyline throughout the match was will they, won't they between Max Caster and Anthony Bowens, which at times was interesting and at times was absolutely baffling. It's a cool story to tell, but that's the only thing that you can remember from this match because it did not flow very well. The rules make it difficult for you to believe that this is a fight. It did not feel like a pay-per-view match, and it certainly didn't feel like the match that you have to follow with all the eyes that may be illegally streaming after watching the Rizzler. They're thinking, what else do you have? This is what else they had. I had an issue with this opening. I understand that, like, if you're looking at a fight card, usually it goes like pre-show, and then it goes from least to most important with the fights. I don't know, Josh. I know that you are okay with the order of it. Tell me your thoughts on this match because, I basically have none beyond that.
Well, I'll give you. I think that's a really good point. That maybe they should have put something a little more forward facing because there were definitely people tuning in for the Costco family and the Boom match and all this. And I thought that match, the crowd was into it too, and all this. And there were definitely extra eyeballs on it, and Blue Sky was lit up about it. So I think you're right there. And the thing is, you end up being right because the match sucked. I think if the match was good, what I'm saying works out, where it's the least important, but it's warming up your crowd, and the stuff that they're going to have more emotional investment is yet to come. I think you look at I like the Wrestle Kingdom layouts where you have, okay, here's your junior tag and it grows in importance, but it only works if everything's good. Like I don't want my point to end up being, well, you put a bad match first. And then because this match just, everybody in the chat is right. Yeah. Matty B19 and Ashton Kutcher, like this match was about the Acclaimed. If this was a year and a half ago, maybe that would be okay, but they're ice cold.
They got nothing. Nothing. Everyone was already in ring, and they announced people when they were in ring, so everybody just had the opportunity to put their hands up like this. Again, strange decisions. And I agree with you that like maybe the idea of a 4-way makes sense to kick off a pay-per-view. Maybe you need a 4-way with more established
Clearly.
with more something. But they told a story of Max Caster slowly becoming a heel. I really like Anthony Bowens. I genuinely think that he could make some strides as like a upper mid card baby face. Maybe he gets a break where something catches on. I really hope he gets away from scissoring. It's so stupid at this point. I just don't care. You know what scissoring is, Josh? You get it?
It's hilarious.
It's like a sex thing.
Very funny for two dudes. I hated this moment. I assume everybody did, where Caster lies on his back and he like calls in Bowens to pin him.
That doesn't make sense. The commentary.
Like, okay, I'm not here to discuss because, like, for all I know, in this weird match format, the four corners tags where only two guys are legal. Maybe there is some weird thing. It doesn't matter if it. Again, I think it's illegal.
Nobody told commentary. Because
yeah,
they
exactly
were like,
and nobody knows because you've never seen it in a match because it's the stupidest thing in the world. It's like, oh yeah, well, we'll enter a discussion about who won the match because we both pinned and got pinned. It's like, this is so stupid. Oh, so the Acclaimed are the stupidest guys ever. Okay, awesome. Best case scenario, you're gonna get like a no contest. I just really didn't like that moment.
The thing that was most disappointing for me was there was some actual heat partway through the match. People were saying fuck Max Caster, and he was giving the crowd the finger. I was like, okay, this is gonna come alive. You know, you can have some, you can use this, have some good exchanges. The thing they do after that is Max Caster lays on the ground and says, "Pin me." Pins. You could hear a pin drop in the arena. It took me a while to get there.
New Jersey was tough tonight. New Jersey,
all
you had to
or
win
nothing.
New Jersey.
Yeah, all or nothing.
Yeah. I don't have a ton else to say about this. The Private Party hits a Junin juice on Caster, who does end up taking the pin after all of this, and Private Party retain their titles. I think everybody thought that was going to happen. I got to tell you, I saw House of Black in here with these guys, and I was just thinking, wow, House of Black really looks better than all these teams.
They have no reason to lose to any of them. That's the hard part. And a wrestling styles are established to combat this. And certain matches will work a lot better where, like, Commander, for example, Commander and Hologram have had matches recently where they get absolutely clobbered. They still have good win-loss records. Because there's a way for them to win. They need to use more tools. They need to use their quickness, their speed. They need to use gravity. They need to use the fact that they can come down heavier. When you have people who are just smaller but still just wrestle like normal style, like missionary wrestling. It's just like when you have two people doing the same stuff, the bigger people are going to look better. So when you don't have that, it's just exposed in a thing like this where, like, there were some great moments where not Turbo Floyd, but
Truth Magnum,
or it might have been Turbo Floyd, but just sort of like his whole thing is being this strong guy, and you know I love comedy wrestling, so he was getting slapped around by Brody King, but he still pumped himself up, and he bounces off the ropes, and he comes in, boom, clothesline down to the ground. It makes sense because he's a big guy, but he's much smaller than Brody King as a big guy. So it's weird where, like, the people that end up winning just are two small guys who aren't super muscular and who aren't super high flying. It's so easy to be nitpicky with this match because it wasn't very good, but
I don't even want to talk more about it. Let's move on. It's good for them.
Good for them.
Necron 99 saying it was a dumb throwback to the New Age Outlaws and Billy Gunn was ringside. Okay, that at least I appreciate you explaining that. I agree that sucks, but at least it's you could pull from somewhere. That said, like, I'm sure you agree, Necron, it's like of all tag teams to reference, like, oh, Billy, you did what back in '99? It's like, oh, you're gonna love this. I said Road Dog, come jump on.
Please call me Kip Sop.
Yeah, not for you. Marlon here saying, are we cold on our boys, the Outrunners?
No.
No, but they live and die on their overness, right? So if you have an arena that's not responding, it's hard. There's lots of acts like this, right? We're just in a cold arena. They need Danhausen's like this. If you can't summon being Danhausen and being over, the act is nothing, right?
I'm still high on the fashion popo.
That's still on the fashion popo. Ashton Kutcher will never forget that they ghosted AEW dudes. That's why we love Floob. Floob, next time I see you, I'm picking you up in the air and I'm saying, Floob, 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 Floob.
Floob, there it is.
Floob, there it is. And if you want to talk to Floob, Marlon, and a ton of other people in the chat every day about wrestling and all sorts of things, if you like the chat, you would probably fit in very well in the Wrestling Brain Discord. That's available at patreon.com/J0SHC for $5 a month. You get into the Wrestling Brain Discord, best place to talk video games, wrestling, sports, all kinds of things, music. On top of that, you get all the solo content that I do back there. There's a 2-hour mailbag with Fergie and I from last Friday. Most recently, it's a lot of fun listening to me and the world champ spit it about wrestling for 2 hours. And then at $5, listen, it's a time of year. I get it. We're watching the wallets. If you want to just do me a favor, go subscribe at the free level of our Patreon. There's a couple free episodes up there at patreon.com/J0SHC. You can subscribe for free. You get a couple of the old mailbags, 2 of the best episodes of Shootopia, and a smattering of the retro reviews. Floob, there it is. Somebody mind putting the Patreon link in the chat for me? Thank you very much.
I want you to talk about this next match because I don't have many thoughts on Roderick Strong versus MJF other than it was great to see MJF just doing his super bare bones, stripped down, your town sucks, let's start the match. That's all I want from him.
And he does indeed open the match with that, tells the crowd to shut up. They said they like Roddy because he's white trash, just like them. I shoot movies for millions of dollars. Your mommy shoots your daddy. And that kicks us off to the very wonderful, I thought, MJF and Roderick Strong match. I thought the crowd really didn't give a service to this match. I don't know if they weren't set up well by the tag or it's the ice cold feud is probably the big anchor around this. But for me, I guess MJF sort of rarely disappoints in ring for me. The Jay White match, and there's a handful of others. The Joe match was fine, but I actually thought this was way better than the live crowd treated it. I got into, especially the back half when they got into the more technical wrestling side of it. I sort of forget that MJF can kick into that. And Roderick Strong, I have in the recesses of my mind, PWG champion, tag champion ROH, world champion ROH, has this style, but much more frontal lobe is screaming names and bad comedy shit with Adam Cole. So it's sort of nice to see both of them not drop the character stuff by any means. In fact, I think it's very important that people remember who their character is in ring and wrestle as their character would. But just for me to be able to forget about the stuff I don't like as much that there's been dripping in their characters and just watch these two really good technicians sort of go at it. And they have that actually MJF had this with Darby too, where they're able to be smooth but still have resistance. And I don't know if that was Roderick Strong bringing it to that, but they have that thing where it's like, they go, but the first one is a push back, and then you go. And I think those are nice. I appreciate that sort of thing in pro wrestling grappling, where it looks smooth, but there is still a resistance, like actual grappling.
They're good partners in terms of like their how they work and like their body type, their height.
Yeah,
like they both require being able to lift their opponents. Roderick Strong, I mean, he can get some pretty big guys up there for his finishers, like backbreaker or whatever.
The backbreaker, yeah, end of heartache,
which I when that thing pops, like when people can get lift off of his knees, it's so great. So
that's wicked, dude.
Just would you agree that it's weird that we had MJF versus Roderick Strong on a pay-per-view with no belt involved?
This would have absolutely been a match that I would cut from the pay-per-view and have built to on Dynamite and I've talked about this endlessly, how I think Dynamite should build a big go-home match for the pay-per-view. It solves the problem of the go-home show and gives you a reason to build on television and some to blow off on television. They used to do this all the time on wrestling television. But especially if there's no belt involved, like Maddie pointed out with this one. So that's what I would have done. Like MJF and Roderick Strong needs a pay-per-view slot. That can't be a team. We all know it's the Road to Cole event in one way or another. So, yeah, no, I would have scratched this from the pay-per-view for sure. I understand that your AEW want to have MJF on the show and whatnot, so maybe, but when I talked about addition by subtraction, I liked this match, but the crowd didn't. And I thought this pay-per-view needed to be 45 minutes to an hour shorter. So this is one I would have looked at to not have it.
It didn't need to be there. They're two really good wrestlers. I hope that after the match, I guess we can go through that. After the match, MJF breaks Roddy's arm in a chair. Yep. And then Adam Cole comes out and chases him off. But so too does Kyle O'Reilly. And
Adam Cole,
Kyle O'Reilly. There was a
and
third,
the Kingdom. Yeah, Matt Taven
and the
and
Kingdom. There
Mike.
you go. So they come out. Kyle O'Reilly is still upset with Adam Cole because he says, "This is you got Roddy wrapped up in this. Like, this isn't about Roddy, but he's a casualty of it. He pushes Adam Cole down. I just can't get up for it. I see Adam Cole there, and I'm just like, I don't, brother. I am 10 times more over Adam Cole than I am Ricochet. It's just like it's a detriment when he's on the screen to me with his current character. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't know. I kind of understand what they're trying to say, but it does. My brain just refuses to grasp onto the fact that I should be either rooting for this guy or being disappointed. Maybe I just don't care enough or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I get that. I think that this does look good on the page. I appreciate the nuance of Kyle O'Reilly being mad at Adam Cole for his actions. Yep. I do actually think that's cool.
That's great.
I share with you, though, that I find these guys hard to get into. Beyond that, again, I hate sounding like a broken record, but somebody's got to do agenting on these shows, man. Like, you can't think of another way to break this guy's arm than putting it in a chair. The thing the Death Riders are doing all over this show right now.
It's true. This looked pretty good, though. It was
I agree. It was a good one, but
it's tough. I know. I agree. It's tough. It's just like,
I know MJF doesn't watch the show, but
it's like you have Willow and Bobby Lashley do a spear after Big Justice does it. I'm only gonna be thinking about the Big Justice spear.
It's true. You went to the limb work on tonight's show. There's a lot of working limbs on the front half of tonight's show.
Yeah, you got Big Show working the Rizzler's hand.
I mean, that was huge. I love them holding hands.
So
I want to give credit to Roderick Strong. Was here to get this submission, the salt to the earth arm bar over, tapped immediately once it got in there. I love when guys do that. That they're willing to make it. They don't need to fight or go to sleep. Or I remember there was an era when Mox was world champ that like no one would go to sleep. Like Brian Cage wouldn't tap to the world champion Mox, like going unconscious. Like, all right, man.
I really like Roddy Strong. I think he's
okay.
I think he's good enough on the mic, and I think he is excellent in ring, and he keeps proving it time and time again. He makes matches feel big. Even though this match suffered from feeling too small, I think he does a really good job. I keep thinking about the Samoa Joe match from months ago. It just he's involved in these matches, and he always puts his best foot forward. And he's such an important guy to have, because I don't know if his aspirations are here. I feel
utility guy.
He's one of the best utility guys you could ask for.
Let's move on to the TBS title defense. It's Chris Statlander challenging Mercedes Moné for the TBS title. These two woke up the crowd by the end, which I thought was quite the feat, given that I felt like they were just not going to be there for the night. I was getting nervous, although they were cold at the beginning of this too. I had predicted this to be one of my favorite women's matches in AEW history. It absolutely delivered on that for me. I was incredibly into this match. I thought it was physical and loose in a way that you can only be if you are actually good at this, breaking the rules because you're good at them. Mercedes is, I don't really know. Maybe I'll ask Fergie tomorrow and I can come on Wednesday and find out if there's like a term for this. But Mercedes is able to like both plant you with her offense and get planted in ways that are, yeah, go ahead, man.
No, I'm almost reacting to you, but just to I'm sorry to finish your thought.
No, please.
To be lifted up as if she's light as a feather, and then to be able to lift someone else up in the same way. It's amazing how much like Chris Statlander from the ground can pick her up without issue, and go into the offense. But when Mercedes is up, she presses a button on her shoulder or something like that turns her into 1,000,000 pounds. And then Chris Statlander, Family Guy, falls on her head. It's amazing. Really, truly, to some of the best wrestling chemistry. I know that you mentioned wrestling chemistry before between Orange Cassidy and Jon Moxley. This is some of the best chemistry that you will see. I say this pointing out a few things that happened for me where, Mercedes did her finisher. It doesn't look good on anybody. It didn't quite work with this, but it was probably it worked better than people who are much smaller than Chris Statlander.
Yes.
Chris Statlander she's very strong, so she's very heavy, but she understood. She made herself weightless for this.
Yeah, I got to go back and watch how she did it. I'm guessing she puts her hand on the far side and pushes off, but I'll have to go back and rewatch.
Yeah.
I think the only better version of that move is the one Azumi took, but the move just sucks. That's the real thing. It's like, we're here discussing. It's impressive that Chris managed to make it look pretty good, given that she's so much bigger than Mercedes.
But it also didn't end the match. And what ended the match was a very kind of rough looking exchange at the end that really worked. I said in the Discord that it was good sloppy. It was, you and I and many of the Brainiacs are okay with things being a little bit loose, maybe a little bit sloppy, because it's a fight. And sometimes in a fight, you're unable to perfectly execute like Will Ospreay can.
Especially if it's the tail end of the fight.
The tail end of a fight, there were maybe a couple slips, but they were struggling against one another. And finally, Mercedes was able to overcome her, and it just was, I think that worked out so well. Sometimes you can see a match that's going for something so specific, like a complicated finisher, and it doesn't work, and you're just like, it kind of undoes a lot of what happened before. But this wasn't as much a convoluted like finisher as it was just like two people struggling against one another and somebody getting the upper hand. Like the only thing that came to mind was a scene from Saving Private Ryan, and I don't think I'm gonna say it.
Moving on. I really like this ending too, Maddie, where I think Chris Statlander is the first person to kick out of the Mercedes Moné finisher, which name is escaping me right now, Chad, if you can help me out. But Chris gets the kick out, but then is woozy getting up. Mercedes sends her into the ropes, and she takes like on the throat from the ropes and then rolls back and takes the pin from there. The crowd really buys the bank statement as a submission finisher. They came alive real loud when Mercedes managed to get it. And I think Ashton Kutcher actually puts words to what I was trying to say pretty well, where he goes, it's impressive to be able to do all that and make it look realistic. Not a lot of people can work big and work small without looking ridiculous. Yeah, and Mercedes comes across as a legit threat to Chris, who is doing power shit all over the place in this match. Mercedes coming across, like Maddie said, looking light as a feather. I just thought these two got right to it. Played out very much as you'd imagine, given their size differences, but a very good version of it. I thought the wrong kid died, and Statlander should have done the title change here. I think she's maybe the best worker in the women's division of AEW main roster, and I think the world title scene could use Mercedes right now. I know that the Tony return's coming in February, and we have the Mina thing to pay off, but I just don't get Mariah hasn't had a feud. I know we're into the Mina thing now, but
yeah,
she beat Tony. I feel like there's been no feud.
It has been tough. She's had some matches, but this to me, if you're looking at it under the Josh C looking at it, you're sort of looking at it like it's been disappointing so far, which I think is a fine thing to say. Like it's I don't think you could disagree with that. But if you reframe it slightly and say, this is an important feud for her, I think that you give her more of a chance to succeed, because we know that she's great. We know that she can do a lot out there, and she looks great in ring. This is a high pressure, big opportunity for Mariah May, and I think she could, we know that she can do it. So I'm happy to see that there's something big coming up.
Yeah,
but,
me too.
It's gonna, we can sort of see the women's division. We can sort of see how it's playing out, and we can you can predict all the way until February for the it makes no sense for Mariah May to drop it. But let's make it interesting, and maybe have a little bit less of this, or
Yeah.
or do that when no one else is in the room.
Curious to ask the chat, what was your match of the night as we get into Jay White versus Hangman Page? Match of the night from the chat. Jay White versus Hangman Page in their rematch here. I thought Right Kid died here. It was good of them to put over Jay White twice, I think, in a row. I suspect heading straight for the world title scene after this, having turned babyface and put down Hangman Page twice. These two have a chemistry that I like. I feel like Hangman Page has lost a little bit of shine since the initial return in the Swerve feud, and not just because of the losses. Just, I don't know. I don't know if this feud's been great for him, but I feel like it has been very good for Jay White, who I thought tonight, I'm going to sound pretentious here, Maddie, okay? And you're just going to have to forgive me. In the chat, you're just going to have to forgive me. I think Jay White's kind of hard to appreciate, and you almost have to be paying attention to, and you almost have to know ball to a degree to realize what he's doing. And I would encourage somebody like in the next big Jay White match. I like doing this in wrestling matches sometimes. Just watch him. Sometimes you watch him between the guys. You watch where whoever's the face, depending on where the camera is, whoever's face you can see. Just watch Jay White for a match. And he's a conductor of smooth, snappy moments. And now there's lots of bad Jay White matches. It doesn't always result in something that is ultra palatable or even good by something I like, but sometimes it really does. And I thought tonight him and Hangman fell into a really nice pattern where they just were able to get into these finisher exchange heat moments that feel very like spotty pro wrestling-y, but also do a lot of slow limb work and wrenching and to have the crowd into both. A nice piece of growth from the Wrestle Dream match that I was at, where at Wrestle Dream it was largely let's go fuck you Hangman, cowboy shit, like the chants were dueling chants, but both for Hangman Page. Here it was let's go Switchblade Hangman Page or cowboy shit. It's nice to see.
He has undergone a glow up that you haven't seen since Stacy and Clinton were in their heyday.
Wow. What not to wear reference. We love it. Not a lot of wrestling shows giving you that.
He was dead in the water. Not dead in the he was the lowest he possibly could have been, where people were saying he should have gone to the Fed, or like
pinned by daddy ass on Collision. Clean.
Maybe he doesn't have it. Also he lost to a one-legged MJF. He had a tough go at it, and I was into the. I asked a question in the Discord. What was so bad about that promo when he said "Hangman" 100 times?
Hangman.
And he sort of lost his babyface return shine. But I kind of liked it because he at least had the direction of I'm righting some wrongs. He has a level of deranged to him that I quite like, that I really liked after the main event when he was like really happy with the chaos he sowed. Jay White right now is in such a different spot than he was pre-injury, that you can suddenly think about him anywhere on the card. And that to me, that settles the if he has it or doesn't. I think
you're right. That is impressive rehab. That really is a long journey in a short year.
He is like, does the term your comedian's favorite comedian make sense with this comparison?
I think a little bit with Jay White. Yeah, I think
a little bit with Jay White. You have to because we're not wrestlers, but we watch wrestling. So it's like you can't not sound pretentious. Like, why is Jay White a tough task for Hangman Page? Well, you and I would say Hangman Adam Page's finisher is very predictable. He has multiple spots where you can reverse it, and
he fights with like reckless abandon.
I'll be
He's
damned.
too aggressive.
So Jay White uses his aggression, and he has reversed. I think he reversed they had a really good ending sequence to this match where I was just like, huh. Like I chuckled a little bit. And I think it
was
all
awesome.
I think it was all revolving around reversing the worst finisher in the company. I think on par with Mercedes Moné's finisher is what's it called, the
Buckshot lariat.
buckshot lariat. It's so stupid.
Those probably are the two worst. I feel like. I think Mercedes is slightly worse. I don't know. Yeah, those are probably my bottom two.
He could just do the clothesline he could just literally do a big clothesline,
He could
and
do
I'd be
anything.
like, that makes sense.
Yeah, he could do anything. Okada might beat him up backstage if he does a clothesline finish, but besides that,
No, a JBL clothesline.
brother, Japan's a different. You're doing a clothesline finish. Okada's gonna come smash you. Yeah, I don't care if you're doing the ripcord or not. But I really enjoyed this match, and I look forward to watching more the White matches and watching Jay White in them. And yeah, I want to get to Matty B questions here. I accidentally scanned over it, saying next challenger for Mercedes. I actually don't think she'll be on World's End. I think she'll be on Wrestle Dynasty fighting against a Stardom talent. Sludge Williams, who knows that world better than me, was wishing for Sari in Stardom to be sort of the dream Wrestle Dynasty match. But yeah, I think World's End might be not lacking, but just I don't expect some of the Wrestle Dynasty talent to be on the card.
I think we could see Mercedes Moné versus Camille at the next pay-per-view.
Oh, that seems like a good guess, Maddie. Yeah.
Like a okay, we see the blueprint of Mercedes versus Big Lady Good. Big Lady not as good as
they let
Chris
Chris Statlander body Camille these last couple of weeks.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see, but they're going to do something with that story, and Camille is going to eventually recover from the work. Is it a work? It's a work injury, right?
Yeah.
Wrestling.
Yeah.
So she's eventually.
That's my take on it anyway. I never want to pretend to know for sure, but
yeah. So I could see that. I could see that, and I think it could be interesting, but it doesn't feel great going from Chris Statlander to Camille, but it makes sense within the context of their relationship.
Yeah, and even like a smaller match before Mercedes has like some sort of big Japanese banger 5 days after.
Yeah, could be a Dynamite match for all we know.
Post match, Hangman turns babyface by punching Chris Daniels.
Yeah,
that was a little joke, but he does punch Chris Daniels.
He should be out for a while.
Yeah, hopefully. Chat saying this next match largely their match of the night. It's Kyle Fletcher versus William Ospreay in the Do Stuff Challenge. These guys went out there and they did stuff. They wouldn't stop. They were ceaselessly doing stuff to one another for the entire match. Go. They say the word paresu comes from saying paresu, wrestle, as in the never-ending grappling sequences. This was just a gas down. I saw people being like, yeah, that's just Will Ospreay on pay-per-view. I honestly think that's like a little reductive. Yeah. Like, I wouldn't compare this. I prefer the Bryan Danielson match, or even I think I prefer the Takeshita match. I would say this is almost the closest thing to watching Will Ospreay wrestle a mirror that we've gotten, like another guy who's very interested in just like, okay, we'll sell. Don't worry. Then we're gonna what? Yeah. Oh yeah. We'll sell. Don't worry. Then we're gonna like in the very similar brain, and not a lot of guys who can keep up with either guy when they want to do this sort of pedal down style. Man, I don't even know where to begin on this one. Really, something to watch.
So the match itself is interesting because you have Kyle Fletcher, who like is inextricably linked to Will Ospreay, but Will Ospreay isn't at 100%, and it adds something to this match that he's verbally and physically selling the neck and shoulder.
Yeah, and has all the tape.
The tape gets ripped off. Some of his moves he can't do. I gotta say, Josh, this might be my match of the year.
Wow,
I know that sounds crazy, but
no, I think that's great.
This was it for me. This was to be able to like. I think that this was the most pared back Will Ospreay has been in AEW. I know that it was a lot of stuff, but it wasn't the same a lot of stuff as him versus him at 100%. So seeing Will Ospreay sell a little bit,
I agree.
He was selling. He was unable to do certain things. Kyle Fletcher, it was like targeting in such a cool way. Like sometimes it was just as simple as like just punching him in the neck or something like that. There was just so many beats. There was the exchange of the chops. Will Ospreay gets maybe the hardest chop you'll see, cuts him with one chop. Kyle Fletcher goes to chop him back. Nope, the quickest kick to the face you'll ever see.
I have that exact spot written down.
Such a cool moment because it makes total sense why Kyle Fletcher would do that. He's not looking to compare himself to Will Ospreay. That's what he's not trying to do. This is not mano a mano. I don't care about you. I just want to beat you. And so a kick is better than a slap. It wouldn't make sense for him for them to do this exchange because that's sort of like this fighting spirit camaraderie thing that people do.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, there's something like yeah, like pain is good. No. He just wants to win. Don Callis was on fire on commentary. He did nothing to detract. He didn't bring out a screwdriver or anything.
He brought heat when he came to the apron, though.
If there was a tiny little bit of a lull, the crowd suddenly just says "fuck Don Callis."
Do you think he noticed that and did it? That was my sense. Is that he felt like it had gone a little slow and like jumped on the apron.
And because it was a slow point in the match, and so all he does is get out there, crowd gets right back into it.
Yeah, that was my sense.
He sits back down. There's just so many things that happened in this match, and I'm watching it, and I'm glued to it. I'm just like, this is great. And the match ends with Kyle Fletcher he beats him. He straight up beats him. Ospreay has nothing left. You keep waiting for Ospreay to produce something. He had a similar finish with Swerve and Ospreay, but this was how Kyle Fletcher handled the end of this match it was almost scary. It was like, okay, he's gone. Like the Kyle Fletcher we knew is gone. He doesn't have any moment of just like, but you're my friend. No, he's not his friend. This was such an interesting way to finish it, although not what my friend Josh would have wanted, and it's not what I predicted. The same thing of Kyle Fletcher's just not there yet, but this is a compelling thing. Sometimes when you can get surprised like this, it's like, okay, there are other ways to go about it, and this match was just spectacular. It was technically sound, cool power spots, cool flippy spots. You reverse. There was a pile driver onto the steps that were.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you haven't talked about either of the very dangerous spots yet. On top of all this, the brain buster on the turnbuckle.
The brain buster on the turnbuckle at the end
was
nasty. So it feels like it got dangerous, but it didn't get like gross or anything. It was just this like nicely contained, hard-hitting, story-driven, technically sound match that I just think was my favorite.
Love that. That's great, Maddie, and very nicely said. I think I remember this match, again, not among my favorite Ospreay matches of the year, but really is the emergence of Kyle Fletcher. Like this is the night he was made. I think we've all felt that he's definitely been an obvious star ascendant and the capital G guy that we want to see people go with. But honestly, man, we saw the big Daniel Garcia win tonight. I think Kyle Fletcher feels way past Daniel Garcia at this point. Yeah. And seeing a guy get made like that, while I still think the more interesting story is like the heel needs to find within himself to redeem and then can beat the baby face. That's fine. That's not what they're doing. And they did this, which was just a gangbusters match. And I really think you can't keep Fletcher away from important stuff for too much longer. Again, it's tricky because so much of the top of this card is heels. So you're trying to think of where Fletcher could go. Was going to go fight one of the three baby faces. Oh, Swerve Strickland's busy. Oh, he's been taken out tonight. Okay. Okay. Will Ospreay. Oh, we just fought Will Ospreay.
Okay. Roderick Strong. No, he broke his arm.
We'll just grab one of the other. No, we'll grab one of the.
Is Adam Cole busy?
Yeah,
Forever he's been okay. Gotcha.
Kenny's back. We'll get Kenny's back. I do agree with McVanderhuge here, though, that the pile driver on the stairs was the most insane thing. The blood staying on there. Really, really nice. Nice stuff. Great match. Really great match.
Did you notice anything about the camera work? Like, it was Bob saying, and I agree. Like, if you didn't notice, well, I'll point out at least one spot.
Yeah.
But there were a few spots in the match where they deliberately they set up the spot really well, and instead of they had no cuts, and they just showed this like side, this tracking shot of Will Ospreay doing something incredibly horizontal.
Cool.
One of them was just like this, some sort of move over the stairs once Kyle Fletcher had moved the stairs. Will Ospreay, that Marlon noticed it too.
Nice.
It's something we'll probably see in the Discord or probably see on Blue Sky, a post on Blue Sky, but. There were
I'm also note taken and all this, so yeah, it can be
when you see it, I think you'll be impressed because it's something that you have vocalized before that's missing, just like an artistic, a deliberate approach.
So easy to stand out.
Yeah, it's
some different indies do it. Riptide, GCW, and for certain shows, Big Japan, I think. Anyway, yeah, really, really amazing match here. Not a lot of wrestlers who could do this with each other. It's just really, really hard to pull off.
Yep. Mimic tier. I'm playing Elden Ring.
Hey,
Will Ospreay
yeah,
versus evil Mimic tier.
A champagne celebration is up next. Mariah May, Mina Shirakawa.
Nice.
It's a champagne celebration that's up next. It's a Mina Shirakawa.
You had to stretch out Mina. You had to stretch out Mariah May a little bit, but Mina Shirakawa. So wow.
I didn't realize how well Mina Shirakawa.
Mina Shirakawa.
Whoa! I'm the high voice guy on the show, man.
Ooh.
You might have to do and a Mina Shirakawa shaking tits song around here.
Yeah. I'll sing that for sure.
Shap Top saying hi, Mina. You're not kidding. Mina here in evening wear. Mina Shirakawa, and she welcomes the Women's World Champion Mariah May. She talks about how great she is. As we all predicted, this leads to Mariah May faking her out, being jealous, and spearing her off the stage. These two brawl, and this is finally
stinker. It wasn't that good.
It wasn't that good. I always just feel like this stuff is kind of.
Oh, you didn't like it?
Angles. What's that?
You didn't like this?
I think setting up angles on pay-per-view. I felt like Fletcher Ospreay really set the table nicely for a match, and then I felt like this was like really an awkward follow-up to it. And yeah, no, I suppose I didn't hate it, but I don't really have a take besides I felt it after that match going to this segment. I was like, you should really have kept this rolling right now. And why wasn't, I don't understand anything about, it was probably a Stardom date, but I just feel like the Mina thing should have happened, or Mariah should have been wrestling on this card, and then I don't know.
Yeah, I guess
I like seeing Mina.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that.
I thought it was so funny when they were like, it's time to celebrate, and they just start like dancing.
Yeah,
it's like the scene in Caddyshack. So what? So let's dance, and they're like dancing like this in the background. I almost feel like following up a match where at the end you're just like, oh, with something silly is not the worst thing to do. And I thought there was good energy for this for the most part, and there was I also just think it was cool to have Mariah May be the one to turn on Mina, because you thought that Mina was going to be the one to turn. Mina sort of winking like long may you reign, and she sort of winks. And I like that Mina was hip to it. Mina probably didn't trust, like it was an interesting like 5 to 10 minute story where there was a cool spear into tables. Mina Shirakawa, she her mouth is bleeding.
Took a blood packet. and then started all over on Mariah. I'll probably go back and watch that part later.
I did have a moment watching it where I was like, oh, like she's going,
Hey now.
like this is weird, but hey.
Ashker saying, was Mina the first to bleed on this show? That's hilarious. Oh, but then it says no Fletcher. Yeah,
Kyle Fletcher's
Fletcher on the
chest.
chest. That's funny. Almost. So yeah, at least we're finally getting to this feud. You know, it's been a long time coming. Oh boy, no one wants to hear me here. Not anyone. Daniel Garcia versus Jack Perry for the TNT title. Right guy won. That trapped foot pile driver that Daniel Garcia did, where he stacked him and then like wrapped his own hand around the foot for added, almost like a one-man assist pile driver, like the FTR boys do. Boy, I loved that pile driver.
You want to do a quick impression of the crowd for 90% of this match?
Sure.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. I've got my CPAP machine in, so I'm not snoring.
Oh, there you go. Okay, yeah. Man, I don't know what to say. I feel bad for. Yeah, that's normal. I feel bad for Dan Garcia. This is a big crowning moment. It would have been really nice to have a super over heel for the crowning babyface to beat. Instead, nobody cares. The Elite aren't even there anymore. So Jack Perry is scapegoating. I don't think his wrestling as a heel is good. I don't think the gimmick suits him. I don't think he wrestles nearly aggressively enough for a heel at all.
His whole thing is nonchalance. He's like bad guy Orange Cassidy out there, and it just doesn't work. You know, like how he gets into the ring, he just sort of like lazily does it. It just doesn't work. Have him come back. Have him cut a promo that says, "I was duped. I was fed like something to the detriment of the Young Bucks." Maybe somebody teams up with him and he goes against the Young Bucks with them, and I don't know. Because listen, somebody said that Full Sail is hiring. He's not getting anywhere close to WWE. So it's either AEW or.
I think Punk would love to do business with Jack Perry again. Genuinely, he would want like to look like this. Can do business with anybody, like his hero Brett, like a go back and look like Mr. He wouldn't actually forgive him or anything. He'd still hold the grudge, but he'd want to look like Mr. Congeniality. I could totally see it.
Yeah, I don't think so. But you're Mr. CM Punk, and you I feel like you have more exposure to him as well. I've only seen like post prime CM Punk, and it's like I don't think he could. I think that
his AEW run might be my favorite work of his. I don't even know his post prime in AEW. That might be my. I didn't watch the initial Ring of Honor live run or live. I watched it on DVD like 2 years after. And anyway,
testing something real quick. Is CM Punk over 40?
Oh yeah, must have been. Yeah, there you go. Although talk about a guy who didn't change. He was just he didn't adapt. He just showed up to CM Punk. Was like, everyone should listen to me.
Why aren't people listening to me?
Yeah, these guys will not listen to me.
What the hell?
Swagman agrees with me. AEW was the best he ever was. That's cool. Qui-Gon Jinn and Juice is saying all these AEW's Under Attack or Soul of AEW things just stink. Yeah, I feel like the problem is when Eddie Kingston comes back and does it, it'll be good. You know,
he said,
or Kenny.
I haven't been able to walk, and every 2 weeks I still get the same paycheck.
That rocks.
It rocks.
That's pretty good right there. Nick Vanderhoof saying it's so dumb that the Bucks and Mary's only connection is that video. I know. It's just they made a whole act out of responding to a backstage brawl where the guy at the other company wins, and then that act sucked. And now Jack's just there and Okada's nowhere to be found until the C2, which is fine, by the way. I'm not complaining about that. I think Okada, rest up for the C2, brother. I don't feed up. I need you healthy.
I think we're not going to see Jack Perry for a few months. What about you?
I think he's joining the Death Riders.
Okay.
I'd love if you're right and I'm wrong, though.
I think he's got. I think this is the less of the elite that we see, the more Okada can just be in the C2.
Yeah, that's a great way of looking at it too. Marlon saying Selection Sunday stream. Ask Slack in the Discord. I'm down. They announced I should have mentioned this, during the Kyle Fletcher Will Ospreay show, they're doing Selection Sunday tomorrow. They're announcing the C2 brackets tomorrow. I'd love to do you know what, Marlon? Maybe if Slack can't, maybe I'll just do a stream in the Discord. Just do like a little 20-minute thing going through the blocks, because I love that stuff. I can't wait for the C2. Yeah, same here, Qui-Gon, Gin and Juice. Sometimes you just forget. And saying Josh is right. Great comment there. Yeah, I don't know, man. I hope Jack Perry goes away for a bit. He should go away until Luchasaurus is healthy again, and they should just return as Jurassic Express baby faces, because they were both really good at it. that act was good. It was over. Yeah, I don't think there's anything here as the scapegoat. There was a lot here in this next match, though, for me. As Swerve Strickland takes on Hurt Syndicate member Bobby Lashley. Maddie, I have written on the page, believable Bobby Lashley. That'd be my nickname for him. Believable Bobby. This man obviously knows how to grapple. This match is largely built around like a headlock and an arm triangle choke. And he is flexing on the small loser and the smaller fed. And then crafty ass Swerve Strickland comes back with a bunch of fun offense, stomps him through a table, shows that he is a world champion caliber opportunist and a winner, like a guy who can find something in any situation. But ultimately, just the ceaseless mountain that is Bobby Lashley's strength is enough to put out Swerve Strickland into the full Nelson. Again, much like I gave credit earlier to Roderick Strong, I'll give credit to Swerve. That full Nelson is in, and he acts like it is the worst thing that's ever happened to him, and then he's out. And then they do it to Nana for monster heat. We don't need to re-express how valuable Prince Nana is, and what a great tool he is to have for these need to draw heat situations. Zoobs mentioned it right off the top of the show in the chat. I thought this is really correct. I thought this match stood out in an incredible way. It looked very blood sport, and you know, I hate the term real for this. None of it looks real, but it grounded in reality and thinking about what it would take to reverse.
At points, it felt like a squash.
Right? Yeah, an extended squash in the very beginning, for sure.
I thought like, oh, okay, so they are doing a squash, but they didn't.
Yep.
It was such a compelling match. It was stand out. I agree. Something I didn't realize before was like the beast side of Bobby Lashley. There were times where like he was just like, like he was a monster out there as opposed to like this dapper. I think that's a really cool direction to move Bobby Lashley in. There were points where MVP with his little cane was yelling, "Kill, kill, kill." That's what he was yelling before he got speared through the barricades. That fucking rocks.
Yeah, dude. It
hurts.
Everyone on Blue Sky said this. I saw this post a bunch of times, and it's almost derivative. And I usually reject comparisons like this, but they honestly just should be Lesnar and Heyman. Like this untamable monster who is all but, you know, foaming at the mouth to destroy you. And their savvy businessman who knows where the money is and where to point their monster.
You're right. You're so right. MVP even has that high pitch New York. Wow. Like New York, the state, as opposed to the Federation.
Speaking of MVP, I just will shout him out. Tomorrow, GCW has Josh Barnett's Bloodsport. The main event is Josh Barnett wrestling MVP. I mean, if that's not must see people, you got to check that out. Might even be streaming in a certain place.
Cycles like the Sedin saying, "I love that Swerve doesn't just do the same match every time." It's so true. He's been he's done in the same year this match versus Bobby Lashley. He's gotten a hypodermic needle through his lips. And the match versus Will Ospreay, all in the same year.
Yeah, it's really fantastic. And he hasn't even given interviews about this.
That's so cool.
He wanted to be that wrestler. Like he wanted to go to Mexico and learn lucha and do deathmatch as the oh my goodness, I've been streaming for too long. What is his kill shot? Have you heard the story about Mox and Swerve Strickland and Renee? Have I told you this? So Renee was backstage right after Swerve got signed, and she was just talking to Swerve because they knew each other from New York and whatever else. And Mox like sort of was not rude, but just sort of Mox like came up to Renee and said something like barely acknowledged Swerve. And then later on, she was like, that's Kill Shot from Lucha Underground, right? He's like, what? And he like went back and was like, hey man, I didn't realize. Like, I love that. That was great shit. And he was like this huge, like he like started marking out about all this Kill Shot like deathmatch shit.
Cool. That's so cool.
For those who don't know, Swerve's Under a Mask is Kill Shot. So, but yeah, Renee had to like fill him. He's like, oh shit, sorry.
This marks the 0-2 for Blue Sky users on the roster, unfortunately. Tough go.
Gotta go back to X.
Yeah, if you want to win, go to the
Everything
Everything app.
Yeah, that's where
everything includes wins.
That's true. No losses though.
No losses.
Nick Vanderhuge also saying Josh is right. Maddie, lots of Josh's rights tonight in the chat. God damn.
To my credit, I did see I can see where you're getting at, Matt, in the chat.
That's kind of the Matt was right equivalent.
Yeah. I get where you're coming from.
Yeah, I sort of in the abstract, loosely.
Not a terrible point.
Yeah. I love Swerve versus Bobby Lashley. I see Ashton Kutcher saying that was his match of the night. It could be mine. I had Fletcher and Ospreay written down on the page, but it's hard to, on the pay-per-view, this stood out more to me for sure. I'd probably be more likely to rewatch Fletcher and Ospreay, I guess, but I thought this match was excellent. Everything the Hurt Syndicate has done so far has been give these guys all the creative control they want. They seem to be in their own lane and totally killing it. I like the style that they bring. It's not super clear to me what's next, I suppose, for Bobby Lashley. And like the Zoobs, whose words always ring eternal, my booking for Bobby Lashley is just dress him in black and have him never lose. Like, I really would be and I'm not the guy who thinks you should come in, sign the New York guy and put him over a bunch of your talent, but who are you going to put over Bobby Lashley right now? He really seems like a guy I wouldn't have him on every pay-per-view. I would try to build him into an attraction. You're obviously never going to have a second coming of Andre the Giant or something where people are like really, but you could make Bobby Lashley into something where his matches can still have an air of mystery to them too. Like, we haven't seen a ton of it, and that's valuable too. I remember there were all those complaints, and me included, about all those very short Brock Lesnar title matches during his reign. And it's true that they can be deeply unsatisfying, but it's also true that when one gets into the 12-minute mark, the 13-minute mark, the 20-minute mark, there's like a ramping up just that it exists there. And that is something that I'd probably aim to do with Bobby Lashley. Like, okay, not who can beat him, who can push him. And then eventually who can get the 2.9 on him as a kick out, and then who can beat him. Like, I'd really be looking at that sort of booking for Bobby Lashley.
The challenge is going to be, are you going to bring in a bunch of people from New York and just have them, like, so far they've brought in 3 people from New York and they're together, right? Like, this is beyond just like the criticism of putting black wrestlers together. These are wrestlers from New York coming over here. They're intermingling slightly, but they're the only person who's gotten over on any of them was Swerve over Shelton Benjamin. The challenge now is, how do you? They work best if they're above everything, like Zoom says with the black suit. Okay, the challenge is, how do you still come off as cool and strong, but be on the same level? Because we can't have too many. Right now we have 3 bad guy factions who are stronger than everybody.
You definitely need baby faces who are good at losing. It's the value of having like a Mick Foley on your roster, or The Rock was really good at this, who are so great on the mic or so sympathetic that the investment is there even when they're losing. Like, that's really who Bobby Lashley needs right now, is somebody who, could, and you give them the odd win. Obviously not in the Bobby Lashley case. I'm trying to think of who. I mean, this has just been my answer for everything lately. I'd love to see Evil Udo just get ragdolled by him on TV. But for like an actual feud and match, like Hangman Page, something extended with Bobby Lashley, like maybe they do a draw the first time and then Lashley beats them.
You have the Death Riders, you have the Don Callis family, and you have the Hurt Syndicate, who are 3.
And the Patriarchy.
Yeah, I guess so. Patriarchy might be a little bit more dorky, on the dorky side.
Lower card.
So, but do you have any of those three interact with one another? Is it against one another, or is it we're both bad guys, so we're cool?
Again, I would be turning the Callis family babyface and then interacting with all of them. But in between them, while they're all heel, no, I'd keep them separate. Although the Hangman Christian thing sort of reaching across the table is like unlikely. It's like maybe stuff like that, but no, I think they're probably deep enough on their own for now, especially the Callis family and the Death Riders.
Yeah.
Actually, you're saying some more KOR involvement. That'd be cool.
Yeah, he's going to be part of the. I mean, it would be cool if at the end of this all it was just KOR and Roddy Strong as a tag team. Personally,
I've been a re-signed Bobby Fish guy. I think Red Dragon would be exactly what the tag division needs.
I think
would
you
be
just
perfect
do
for Kyle O'Reilly.
I think you just do Red Dragon with Roddy Strong instead. He's even getting the gray hair.
But he's not as martial arts as Bobby Fish. Like Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish were
they were like
yeah, dance away. You know,
doing stuff like this.
Yeah, you know how martial arts goes. You just
I can show you Taikyoku Shodan, Taikyoku Nidan. I used to have a gi.
He's ready to go.
I could do Seiyun Chin.
He only does everything. Mr. did it again, Matt Prince. I'm sticking with my 5.75, Maddie. How do you feel about your 6 after we've gone through the show?
I said 6.5 before.
6.5.
I'm going to say 6.25. The highs were really high, but sometimes you just get bogged down by those lows, and I think I was being maybe a little generous. And 6.25 still might be generous, but it did have my match of the year most likely.
And it's a night watching the fights. You had fun with it. You don't have to.
I had fun with it. I was sitting on the couch with Stell. I'm not eating. I'm not eating as much, so I didn't get to like pig out. But that's fine.
I didn't buy it, but that's fine.
Oh, I'm good. Yeah, I'm good.
Oh yeah, I mean it's just not a big deal.
Josh, don't worry about me so much.
I'm not. No, I don't.
You don't there's nothing to worry about.
I want to thank everybody for staying with us. I know it's very late, especially those on the East Coast. You're up real late. Really appreciate Marlon calling in. The Discord, it's been an incredible activity week in there. It's like an all-time busy week post-wise. Discord. So I don't know if that was the Full Gear hype. And I've just been saying this on the shows lately, and I feel like I want to again. There's just something about the Gabe Kidd versus Kenny Omega announcement that just has me feeling so good about pro wrestling right now. And Full Gear kicks off just this next awesome run. Final Battle, Wrestle Dynasty, GCW Hammerstein, Wrestle Kingdom. The C2 starts. It's just a great time to be into pro wrestling. And McVanderhugh, you're saying the blue sky bump. Yeah, some people are doing it wrong. You have to like all the ones above you. People just posting it in there. It's already... Matt, I try to establish rules and people just lose their minds.
I just want to see. Let's look at...
I should have locked it. I should have only had the people who originally understood the contract in the thread.
That's interesting. I feel like you're getting about 20. You're getting about 20 from the... And then if you're above 20, it's because maybe somebody's retweeted it. It's exhilarating, Josh. You could be a person of 20 likes.
Listen, I broke 100 likes a couple times on Blue Sky this week. That rarely happens on Twitter.
If I did, I would quit my job.
Well, I don't know about that. And if you're saying thanks for sharing your joy, that's a nice thing to say, man. Thank you for hearing it out. It's a great time, man. And it's a nice time to have hobbies and passions and things to follow. There's a lot of emptiness out there. I know a lot of people who are like searching for something. It's like, I got something to do Saturday nights. I got people bashing each other in the head to watch. Maddie, anything you want to say to the people as we send them off for our... And Matt, you're just always so wonderful in these pay-per-view post shows. I really appreciate you making the time to do them. You're really talented at it.
I have a hell of a time on here. Yeah, I got nothing to say other than this was another fun pay-per-view. It's fun chatting about it in real time in the Discord. It's really fun chatting about it afterwards with you, with whoever I'm with here. I'll always be here for the pay-per-views.
What a man. What a promise. Look what arrived today. My 30th anniversary.
Fuck, you actually got it.
It's very hard to get. I'm gonna go to sit down right after this.
Smell it.
I love you, Joshua.
Hey, there's Cass right as we're signing off. I love you too. Look, baby, look at my new PlayStation controller.
I did it.
Yeah, woohoo! I'm the man.
We made it,
baby. We made it. It was hard to get though, man. Yeah, I'm very right after this. I will be sitting my ass down, open a sparkling water, and continuing my evil run on Baldur's Gate using that controller.
I'm going to see if I can make it through the mountaintops of the Giants. And Josh, I have no idea how the fuck to end this game. Who to side with? Everyone seems pretty below board.
There's no like clear great ending for Elden Ring, and even like the default good guy one is kind of dull. It feels like, but I kind of like that about it. The Dark Souls ones are like that too. It's like, do you want to continue this chain of everybody dying, or do you want to rule it as like a horrible emperor over all this chain of death? I don't know, man. I want everybody to be alive and happy, and they've lots of groceries.
Yeah, when the Volcano Manor approached me to do like these assassinations, I was like, no. I am
yeah, I draw a line here.
I'm killing your god. Okay.
I knew early. It was so easy for me to not want to side with a guy named the Dung Eater. Oh my god. Scoot! At the 2-hour mark. Hi, Scoot.
Pasta.
Oh my god.
Bolognese.
Maddie, do you have food?
Salad. Raisin bread.
Does that be what Josh is eating?
Corn.
No, or do you want to?
Is that easier for you?
Cornstarch.
I want to. No. It's what's Matthew eating. Gotta give Scoot what he paid for.
Cheeseburger. Linguine. Beef bourguignon. Tofu. Winter salad. Pizza. What's Matthew eating?
What's Matthew eating?
Come on!
You want to hear more about the Scoot subscriber with Prime? What a night.
Great.
You want to hear more about the evil run in BG3? I'm really finding it hard. I'm not saying this is like some sort of fake good guy thing,
Winter salad.
but I'm finding it hard to make the bad choices. But the one that I just did,
Meatloaf.
I don't know if you can hear me over the song.
Shawarma.
Do you think Bob can hear me speaking over this song, Maddie?
Falafel.
Yeah, this one's one of the quieter ones.
Pineapple.
Bob, the thing I just did that was very
Golden
evil in
delicious
Baldur's Gate 3. Do you know in the
Pink
Underdark
lady
when you
apple.
find like the mushroom colony?
Applesauce.
Like that colony of, I think they're called Myriaoids. They're all like the really nice mushroom people and they can see in the dark. Well, they have rescued this dark gnome that was enslaved by these guys, the Dweger dwarves, and they enslaved this gnome. And so, of course, as my normal way, it's like, oh, go free the gnome. And here I was like, oh, I'm just going to kill all the mushrooms.
Welcome to a very special edition of What's Matthew Eating. That's right. This special edition comes 2 hours and 8 minutes into the stream. Thank you, Scoots. This is not What's Matthew Eating. This is What's Matthew Drinking. That's right. I have a smoothie in front of me here, and I want you to name the fruit that's in this smoothie based on the sound of the sip. Here we go.
Come on. Okay. What do we think, chat? Not that thick?
There's one fruit in this smoothie.
Is a smoothie just, what is it, fruit and yogurt?
It is powders, almond milk, and one fruit with some cinnamon.
That sounds good. How cool is this Game King's flag?
It's really cool. It's really cool. Scoots, you got to guess. Come on.
All right.
Scoots, where are you? What?
Scoots is guessing.
Scoots, why did you do this?
Okay, I'm gonna say strawberry.
So close, Josh. It's banana.
My number 2 choice was raspberry, so I wasn't even close.
It's pretty good.
McVanderhuge also was on strawberry. Scoots appreciates bananas. Yeah, I love a banana in a smoothie for sure. Great flavor.
Okay, let's do our best. Let's do our best Riz face and let's get out of here.
Thank you everyone for the support going with us so late. What a monster stream this ended up being, man.
When we get to talking, we don't get to stopping, let me tell you.
Scoots asking what happened. Well, Scoots Brodo stopped by for one. The hero of Blue Sky. No, it's just there was Scoots. We started the show with like 10 minutes of sound alerts. People went ham tonight.
You would be proud. You would be proud of the Brainiacs tonight, Scoots.
Yeah, they did you right, Scoots. Okay, you want to hit the Rizzler face and then we're out of here? He kind of does this, right?
He does this, but he also draws.
Oh. Kind of like alternate kind of deal.
Anyway, bye everyone.
Love and energy, everybody. Good night. Love you too, Scoots.
I love you, Joshua.